What's going on, everybody? It's Q here from Retro Q Gaming, and I'm sure, as many of you guys already know, I used to be an avid retro collector. You could say I still am, but I've a pretty big collection, and I'm pretty happy with it and how it was going. I used to do it fairly consistently, but at one point, the end of December 2017, no, 2018, I decided, you know what, I need to put it on hold. I need to do a few other things, and well, I basically put it on hold. I made one or two big purchases at the end to go out with a big bang, and I told myself I'll probably put the entire thing on hold for all of 2019. And I figured I'd probably go back in 2019 with a big bang. Now, I always intended to go back to it. It was a huge hobby of mine and absolutely love it. Retro games are absolutely amazing in pretty much every way, shape, and form, and I cannot wait to get back to it. Now, in the meantime, since December 2018, I haven't even looked at a retro product. I used to work in a place where every single day I would have to walk by the shop front and the window and all of a different place that would have retro stuff in the window. And I didn't even look in there once in like 9 months. What are we? Yeah, September, 9 months. I haven't even looked in there a single time, let alone gone into the store. That's how strong my resolve was. I didn't even look at eBay. I didn't look at anything like that. People were always asking me about going to retro stuff. Would I buy retro stuff? Retro this, retro that. And I just said, nope, listen, I can't do it. I'm out of it for the moment. I'm out of the game. I will be back in 2019 for it. But, I kind of broke that last weekend. Yeah. Now, do I feel bad about it? Slightly. What I broke it with kind of makes it worth it. Now, at the same time, also shout out to my arcade machine, Jam a Cab for the win. But at the same time, I'm just looking at it here behind the camera, but it's what I intended to buy as a big bang to come back, if you will. I don't know what made me randomly look for it last weekend, but I did. And I saw it there, price wise for what it was at the time. I said, you know what, this is available to me. If I don't do this, I might regret. If I don't do this, I might regret it. But anyway, I've teased it up and hyped it enough. Let's go. Put it this way, right? Before we go on to it, actually, this thing I'm about to show you, this new purchase I just made the other day. This is such an important one. At least the way I hold it in regard and all. It's such an important one that possibly the most influential, if you want to call it, maybe not influential, it's not a good word, possibly the most significant and monumental retro purchase I've ever made is this behind me. This is probably number two. There's games out there you buy and you want, there's rare ones, stuff like that. In the grand scheme of things, this is probably number one. This is probably number two. Anyway, let's go. So there it is. That's right, boyos. We have a professional grade Sony PVM. That's right. For anyone out there who already knows this, yes, CRTs are obviously the better way to play retro games than playing them on modern TVs. Hell, even if you put it in with something like a FrameMeister or an OSSC, this is still your better option to do it because not just these, but CRTs in general are much higher quality and they're closer and originally what they're designed for. At least the output of the consoles and stuff too. And of course, you have the professional grade ones like these, the PVMs, the BVMs, whichever model you get. These are previously professional grade monitors, typically used in, say, TV studios, hospitals, things like that, where picture perfect accuracy needs to be 100%. You don't need to worry about crazy image processing. You have that on so many different TVs. You don't need to worry about any of that because it's just raw, perfectly tuned picture quality. And of course, with that, we have a Sony PVM 1453MD 14-inch screen. Of course, when I opened the box up and got it in here, it just arrived this morning. It's such a stark contrast to go back to a 14-inch screen. Because I have three different monitors on my computer. One of them is 32-inch, my primary one is a 27-inch, and I have another one there that's a 24. This is a 14. Now, of course, I will be sitting very, very close to it, so it won't matter in that regard. But still, it's a bit of a stark contrast. Unfortunately, I can't use this yet because this was originally scheduled to take about 3 weeks to be delivered. It took one. Now, I need additional cables, which I'll get to in a minute when we look at the back of it and the inputs. I need additional cables to be able to use this correctly. And they haven't arrived yet. I ordered them at the same time, well, right after I bought this. And I ordered from a different UK-based website, but yeah, this arrived first, which is funny. If the eBay pictures are to be believed, and the guy has a fairly good reputation and he's got good feedback and all, so I will be inclined to believe him. It did get a little damaged in shipping, just on the case. The screen is slightly off kilter because of it, but when I am going to glue it back in place because it's hard to do with one hand, but it can be lifted up and put back into place, and then when I glue it in there, the screen is back in its proper one. It's ever so slightly off. You can probably see it at the top. But yeah, that's what we have on our bad boy here. Couple of different inputs, which we look at the back. You can still mess with the contrast, the aperture, the brightness, the chroma, the volume, etc. It has mono volume, which is kind of weird. But anyway, let's go and look at the back, because for anyone out there who's not sure on these and doesn't really know too much about them, they don't use typical video inputs like most TVs and stuff do. Because remember, these are professional grade monitors. This is what, if you were sitting in a TV studio recording an episode of a TV show back in the 90s, because yes, these are like 20 years old, or you're sitting there in a broadcast truck broadcasting something live. Again, these are the monitors you would use for that. That's why they're such high quality. They need to be picture perfect and 100% accurate. But let's take a quick look at the back anyway. These are called BNC inputs. So basically, what I have coming to me at the moment is the European Super Nintendo, at least the model I have, can output RGB natively. You don't have to worry about anything like that. So I have an RGB SCART coming, and no, I already have the RGB SCART. I have the RGB SCART to BNC adapter coming, because it'll basically be like component, because it's basically what it is. Then I have audio as well and an external sync. So the cable will go into all four of these, or I guess here, 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 and here. It doesn't really matter. But it will go into all of those, and it will give me... I have an adapter actually because the consoles themselves are stereo sound. This only mixes mono sound. I have an adapter to go from the two RCAs into it. But it's the same deal on pretty much most of them. It is slightly different. I believe that looks like an S-Video connector for that. But of course, RGB and component are better than S-Video. So, I mean, I guess I could probably put in like the N64 because it's only doing a video one. So that's not too bad. But that's our big important one to take away from this. I've turned it on, I've tested it out in the sense that it turns on, it controls properly, it displays properly, all of that stuff. And I can't wait to get it done. It's been a dream for years at this point, and it was something I always resigned myself as to probably never being able to do, mainly because I live in Ireland, and this stuff is nearly next to impossible to find here. In fact, I had to order this from the UK, and that's probably why, because of all the extra shipping and all, it got a little damaged. Like I said, it's just a case. It does slop back in. It's very hard to do with one hand because everything's trying to move, but it can slot back in and all. Anyway, that's it. Between the FrameMeister and this, I basically now have the best ways to play retro games. If I want to play it on the original style hardware and get probably the best possible picture from it, I have this. If I want to play it out of ease of use and convenience, I can play it on my flat screen monitors with my FrameMeister, or I can just plug in one of the analog FPGA consoles. But still, the point remains the same. I now have the option. And honestly, I suspect if I'm not going to be recording or streaming, this will be how I'm going to play my retro stuff. Not just my Super Nintendo, but other retro stuff as well. Anyway, let me know in the comments section below if you're a big avid retro fan. Have you always wanted a PVM, a BVM, whatever it is? Have you had the struggles? Have you been lucky enough to have one? Are you rocking some big beast of a massive Sony Trinitron? CRT consumer grade instead of professional grade, or what's the deal? Let me know all of that good stuff in the comments section below. Hit the appropriate button to let me know how I did on the video, and while you're at it, why not head on over and hit the subscribe button and even ring the little notification bell. Granted, getting a notification in YouTube in current year is a whole other story, but hey, at least you can say you tried, am I right? As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.